Up to the 30, the 20, 10, 5. Torrey Horton back to the end zone.
48-yard play. Guess who? Body up the middle, making another move to the outside. 15, 10, end zone again.
Keeps it. Nice move by Brown. He's got space. He's got 6. 35-yard touchdown for Byron Brown. A record-setting night for the South Florida quarterback.
Down so far, a little bit of a high snap. Genty right up the middle. Genty has room. Ashton Genty, give him 6.
Second and long. Lagar tries to fit it in. Ruddles, it does. Ruddles stays up. The Suns offense 4-3 wins. Incredible effort for Ruddles.
The G5 Hive. All G5, all the time.
Welcome to the G5 Hive Live. We are excited to bring you the G5 college football coverage you love each and every week. I am Luke. I'm joined by my co-host, Justice. We're only 6 subscribers away from 500 on YouTube. So if you're watching us on X, which I see a lot of you are, head over to YouTube, hit a sub there. We would appreciate it. Again, if you're watching us on YouTube, please hit that like and subscribe button. And if you're watching us on X, please give us a follow, a like, a retweet. And if you're listening to us in podcast form, please rate and review. Don't forget, the G5 Hive merchandise store is now live. Link in the YouTube comments as well as pinned on our X page and here at the bottom of the screen. Justice. The college football season, for the most part, is over. We've got conference championships coming up, then bowl season, then the playoffs. I have felt better other days. I feel like I am death. This is going to be my Jordan flu game. I kind of place my over-unders at 2.5 mutes because I'll be blowing my nose. I'll be doing all this stuff. I'll be on mute probably a lot. But, yeah, my over-under is probably 2.5. But how are you doing?
I'm doing great. That's kind of how I was last week. I'm on the back end of it. I'm feeling pretty good. Just got back home from an Old Dominion basketball game. They got a W, so that's always good.
What's his name hit a lot of threes?
No, Robert Davis did not hit a lot of threes tonight. I think he only hit one, but it was a great team effort. The team as a whole hit a bunch of threes, but it really wasn't one guy tonight. It was a great team effort. But yeah, man, like it's crazy that the end of the season is here. Like it just seems like college football season flies by, right? I mean, we're 14 weeks in, conference championships coming up this week. Then we got bowl games. The silly season has already started, right?
Yeah, we got a lot of transfers.
A lot of transfers. Coaching changes.
Even though the transfer portal isn't open for another week, minus like teams that already have a coach leaving and such. But yeah, we could do a whole show, and we might have to do a whole show.
We will. Yeah, we're not going to talk about transfer portal guys from this point forward until we just do a show on it. Well, I think last year we did 5 shows, right? We did one for each conference.
Yeah.
And that's probably what we'll end up doing. It'll probably be later in the year once we, after the first of the year, once we know some destinations, because it's just hot and heavy right now. It'll cool off, I imagine, by the middle of January, right? Guys want to get enrolled, be there for spring practice. And then it'll pick up hot again, I guess, in April, like it does, every year. But, yeah, so we won't specifically talk about any specific transfers this week or probably the next few weeks, but we will get to those probably sometime in January.
All right. It is time for the G5 Hive Players of the Week, Week 14. The freshman of the week is offensive freshman of the week is quarterback Micah Alejado out of Hawaii. Micah got the start due to a Braden Shager injury. And boy, did we see something special. Micah went 37 of 57 for 469 yards and 5 touchdowns through the air. He also led the team in rushing yards with 54 yards. Hawaii needed everything they got out of Alejado as Rainbow Warriors beat New Mexico 38-30. His 469 yards through the air broke the freshman single-game passing record previously held by Hawaii coach Timmy Chang in 2000, when he threw for 403 yards. So beat it by 66 yards there. And then no other quarterback in Hawaii history has ever thrown for 5 touchdowns in their first career start. I don't know if that's too amazing that it's never happened, or the fact that it finally did happen. I think it's probably more amazing that it did happen. But congratulations to Mike Alejado. Great first start, and Hawaii's got a good one going into next year.
And if you're listening to our show, this isn't the first time you've heard about Micah Alejado. We talked about Micah was in January of last year.
Either end of January or mid-February.
Yeah, it was when we did our Hawaii preview with Brian McInnes, the beat reporter that covers the Hawaii Rainbow Warriors. They had their spring practice in January. And so we interviewed Brian shortly thereafter, and we spent some time talking about Micah. So if just another reason to watch us year round, you learn about these guys way before they become the next stars in college football. All right, our freshman defensive player of the week is Kyron Duhan, defensive end for UTEP. This is the second time this season that Kyron has won our freshman defensive player of the week. Kyron had 3 tackles, 2 solos, 2 tackles for loss, and 2 sacks in the Miners' victory over New Mexico State in Week 14. Kyron has had an impressive true freshman season so far with 43 tackles, 21 solos, 7 tackles for loss, and 7 sacks for the Miners. Congrats, Kyron.
Now, my offensive player of the week, a little bit different this week. I went with kicker, Lucas Carniero, Western Kentucky. Carniero kicked 4 field goals for the Hilltoppers on Saturday. He kicked a 50-yarder, a 21, a 47, but none were bigger than his 50-yard field goal at the end of the game. Carniero accounted for 13 of Western Kentucky's 19 points in the 19-17 win over Jacksonville State. Lucas's leg powers Western Kentucky into the Conference USA Championship game Friday night. Congratulations to Lucas and the Hilltoppers.
My offensive player of the week, quarterback Quinn Heinickel, Old Dominion. Quinn got the start for a banged-up Colton Joseph, and boy, did Quinn, he did not disappoint. He went 9 for 12 for 143 yards and 2 touchdowns through the air. He also led the team on the ground with 206 yards rushing, adding 2 touchdowns as well. Quinn got the party started early for Old Dominion. On the offensive first play from scrimmage, he had a 92-yard touchdown run. Quinn led the Monarchs to a 40-32 win over Arkansas State. Congratulations, Quinn. Now to my defensive player of the week, cornerback Matthew McDoom, Coastal Carolina. Matthew turned in a strong performance this week with 4 tackles, all solos, 1 pass defense, and 2 interceptions to lead the Chanticleers in their victory over Georgia State in Week 14. They get them a 6th win and bowl eligibility. Matthew has been one of the best cornerbacks in the country this season. Congratulations, Matthew.
My defensive player of the week is linebacker Jaden McDonald. Jaden had a heck of a day for UConn's in their 47-42 win over UMass. Jaden accounted for 24% of the Huskies' tackles on Saturday. He had 20 total tackles. The next closest was 10. Now, 6 of those 20 tackles were solos, and he also had a half of a tackle for loss. Congratulations, Jaden, on the huge night. All right, Justice, let's get into it. What does the Swarm need to know? Our news and notes.
A lot of coaching changes. That's the majority of what we got for news and notes this week. First off, just happened today. Appalachian State has fired head coach Sean Clark. He was 39 and 24 seasons in 5 years, including 5 and 6 this past season. That one comes as a little bit of a surprise to me. I'm not shocked, but I don't know. They definitely underperformed versus expectations this year. But the offensive line was not good. The defense was not good. again, I mean that has something to do with the coaching staff, right? But yeah, a mild surprise for me that Sean Clark was let go. And I have to wonder if he had won on Saturday, got them to bowl eligibility, if they would have made a change. But nonetheless, they didn't get there. I mean, from a timing perspective, I guess I don't truly hate it, right? I mean, they lose Joey Aguilar, lose Caden Robinson to graduation. Um, so they're kind of starting over on offense anyway, to some degree, or another. I think sometimes folks worry about, hey, if we fire the coach, the star players are going to leave. In their case, their star players are already graduating. So, I mean, I feel like that kind of works out in their favor, I guess. But still, a little bit of a surprise that Sean Clark was let go. Some hiring news. Temple has hired Sam Houston head coach Casey Keeler as their new head coach. I really like this. I'm bummed for Sam Houston. He's been a great coach for them.
Yeah, I'm bummed for Sam Houston. But yeah, it's a great hire.
It is, and that's where Casey's from. I mean, before Sam Houston, he was the longtime coach at Delaware, led them to a national championship. He coached Joe Flacco, so he's familiar with that part of the country. And look at the job he did at Sam Houston. They won a national championship at the FCS level. They moved up to the FBS. They were competing. They were right on the doorstep of if Western Kentucky had missed that 50-yard field goal on Saturday, Sam Houston's in the conference championship game. Just a phenomenal job that he did down there in Sam Houston, and excited to see who Sam Houston brings on board to lead them, in 2025. In the absence of Casey Keeler, Brad Connelson, the offensive coordinator, he will serve as the interim head coach for Sam Houston's bowl game. Florida International has fired head coach Mike McIntyre in 3 seasons. He was 12-24. He went 4-8 all 3 seasons. So he's consistent in that, I guess. This one doesn't come by as a surprise at all. If you've been paying attention to Florida International the last few weeks, there's a lot of negative press from former players coming out about Coach McIntyre, and
then a slew of transfers of big names.
Yeah, I mean, they've lost a lot of big names in the portal already. So yeah, no shock there that Florida National lets Coach Mike McIntyre go. Some more hiring news. Kennesaw State has hired Jerry Mack as its new head coach. Mack was most recently the running backs coach for the NFL's Jacksonville Jaguars. Prior to that, he was a head coach at North Carolina Central, an offensive coordinator at Rice, and a running back coach at Tennessee before he moved to the Jacksonville Jaguars just this season. Northern Illinois has fired offensive coordinator, running back coach Wesley Beshcomer. He got fired before, not this week, but last week. So before their last game, they let him go. And Rice, a surprise to us. It's not who we had heard when we talked about it last week, but they have hired a new coach, and it is Scott Abel. He's their new head coach. Abel was 47-28 at Davidson. They had 7 consecutive winning seasons, and he has shown the ability to win at schools with high academic standards, just like Rice. He took his team to the FCS playoffs 3 times, and he was a good recruiter at Texas while he was at Davidson. So he knows Texas, has the background of working at a school with a high academic standard, and being successful at it. So it sounds like a good fit, right? And I think from an offensive standpoint, you're going to see a lot of running. That's what I think you're going to see at Rice. I don't know that E.J. Warner is going to fit the style of offense that they want to run. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of happens with E.J. if he decides to stay or move on. Washington State offensive coordinator Ben Arbuckle. He was a hot name in this coaching cycle. He is now going to be the offensive coordinator at Oklahoma. And then reportedly there is a all-out bidding war between several SEC schools for quarterback John Mateer. He previously mentioned he had already gotten an offer of $1 million, and now I'm hearing the number of like $2 million being thrown around. Some of the schools I've heard are in that bidding war: Auburn, obviously, Oklahoma, and others. Be interesting to see if he goes to an SEC school, how he performs there. Moving up, it's definitely moving up a level of competition compared to the schedule that Washington State played this year. And then the last piece of coaching news: Florida Atlantic has hired Zach Kittley as their new head coach. Zach Kittley was formerly the offensive coordinator at Texas Tech. Before that, he was the offensive coordinator at Western Kentucky. Before that, he was the offensive coordinator at Houston Baptist. And if you're not familiar with Zach Kittley, he was the offensive coordinator at Western Kentucky when Bailey Zappi and Jared Stearns went absolutely bonkers. Was that 2000? I want to say somewhere around there. I believe.
Not 2000.
Not 2021, maybe. I don't remember.
I was going to say 2000. I was in 5th grade.
I'm sorry, 2020, not 2000. Not 2000. Sorry, 2020. It was the year Bailey Zappi and Jared Stearns went absolute nuts.
Yeah, that was 2020, I believe. Other, what other coach was around there? Wasn't Ben Arbuckle around there?
Ben Arbuckle was I don't know if he was quarterbacks coach or what he was.
Coach, and maybe they were co-offensive coordinators at one point, and then they split up. You got Arbuckle goes to Washington State, and then you got
goes to Texas
Tech, and we're like, oh, this is going to be a great system. And one of them proved to at least have a little bit better of an offense than
Ben
the
Arbuckle.
other. Well, who made what? Well, now they both switched teams again, and we'll see what happens.
Well, I mean, and one went to the P4, one went to, we'll just call them what they are, another G5 in Washington State. And now they're switching. One's going to P4 and one's going back to the G5. So,
well, to be fair, Washington State was Pac-12 with Oregon and everything at the time. At the time,
yes, they were P4. This year they were kind of in no man's land. I don't think they want to be considered G5, but for all intents and purposes, that's what they are. And that's what they're going to be for the foreseeable future. But it'd be interesting to see what, Kittley at Texas Tech, you never saw it be as productive from a passing standpoint as what you saw at Western Kentucky. What they did do is they rushed the ball pretty effectively there with Taj Brooks. The last 2 years, Taj Brooks has been an absolute beast for Texas Tech. With Kittley going back to the G5, I'm excited to see what he's going to do there with that offense. And I wonder if, someone like a CJ Campbell, who's in the transfer portal from Florida Atlantic, he doesn't change his mind and decide to return.
Yeah, absolutely.
But, same with Omari Hayes, right? Omari Hayes also in the portal. Be interesting to see if he doesn't change his mind and return with the hiring of Kittley. But, definitely interested to see what that offense can do at Florida Atlantic under Zach Kittley. See if they can recreate some of that Western Kentucky magic from 2020.
All right. Let's get into the G5 and the AP Top 25. Boise State moves up one spot after their win over who did they play? It was why am I blanking on who they played?
Oh, man. Oh, who did Boise State play last week?
I watched the game.
Oregon State.
Washington. So Boise State moves up one spot after their win over Oregon State to number 11. Tulane with their win.
Tulane drops out after the loss to Memphis. UNLV moves up to number 19, which I think is 2 spots higher than they were after their win at Nevada. Army moves up a spot after their win to number 24, and then Memphis, after the big win at Tulane, moves up to number 25. Makes their debut in the top 25. So Tulane drops out, Memphis drops in.
All right, well, let's get into our Heroes top G5 top 20, 25 poll through 14 weeks.
So if you're watching us on YouTube, you can see the teams here, top 25. It's the Hero Sports G5 top 25. We are a voter in this poll, but I'll run down the top 25. Number 1, Boise State. Number 2, UNLV. 3, Army. 4, Memphis. 5, Tulane. 6, Louisiana. 7, Marshall. 8, Jacksonville State. 9, Miami. 10, Navy. 11, Western Kentucky. 12, Ohio. 13, Sam Houston. 14, JMU. 15, Bowling Green. Tied with Liberty at 15. 17, UConn. 18, Georgia Southern. 19, Colorado State. 20, Fresno State. 21, Texas State. 20, tied with San Jose State, also 21. 23, Buffalo. 24, Northern Illinois. And rounding out the consensus top 25 is East Carolina.
All right. And when it comes to our votes, we had Marshall come in at number 11, while they're number 7 in this top 25. Liberty was at 22 in ours, and they are number 16 in the top 25. I think I forgot to update that. Looks like that's a 15. It's supposed to be a 16. We ranked Buffalo at 15, and the top 25 has them coming in at 23. We did not rank Fresno State, Texas State, or NIU. As you can see, those came in at Fresno State came in at 20. We had a tie at 21 between Texas State and San Jose State. And then NIU came in there at 24. Receiving votes were Toledo, South Alabama, UTSA, Arkansas State, Old Dominion, and USF. So those were a big kind of discrepancies. Anything else that pops out to you?
I would say the 3 teams that we ranked that did not make the top 25 were Toledo, South Alabama, and UTSA. Those are the 3 that we had in that the consensus did not agree with us. Yeah, but I mean, the top 10, we were, other than Sam Houston, we were pretty close with the consensus. Like you said, Marshall was the one we didn't have there. But
which I get them being up higher, probably from a perspective of everybody else is, they're in the conference championship, so they deserve to be higher. We'll get to that game later, but that game was exciting.
It was an exciting game.
All right, so our winless teams through the 2024 season, none other than Kent State Golden Flashes. They lost to Buffalo to finish the season winless. They are currently on a 21-game losing streak. That's where we'll have to pick it up next year. But that's demoralizing. That is great, and it makes it hard to get people to Kent State and trying to pitch, building something with 21 losses in a row.
That's the one I am shocked that we have not heard that head coach Kenny Burns has been let go. That really surprises me. Again, they've already they've had some pretty significant portal losses already. There's been some, Cam Olds, Krishan McCray, touchdown Tommy Ulatowski are the ones I know off the top of my head. It's been reported there's been some reported issues with Kenny Burns, some personal finance issues. Being sued by a bank for defaulting on a loan. Lots of other rumors floating around. And couple that with a winless season and a 21-game losing streak. I am definitely shocked that Kenny Burns has not been let go yet. Maybe it's a case of them trying to do their due diligence and fire him with cause. I don't know. So they don't have to pay a buyout. I don't really know anything about his contract situation or anything like that. But yeah, just kind of surprised that Kenny Burns has not been let go yet by the Kent State Golden Flashes.
I'm sure it will be coming at some point. Where there's smoke, there's fire. Even if it's a small fire, big fire, whatever it happens to be, I think there's something going on. All right. Our G5 bowl count currently up to 33. I could name all 33, but I'm not. I'll spare you. I'll just name the 3 teams that made it this week with their wins. North Texas is going bowling, Western Michigan going bowling, and Coastal Carolina also going bowling.
And there could have been a little bit of a situation where somebody got left home. If Nevada had beaten Hawaii Saturday night, Sunday morning, Nevada would have been bowl eligible.
New Mexico played Hawaii.
I'm sorry, New Mexico. You're right. Ugh. Yes, if New Mexico had beaten Hawaii, they would have become bowl eligible, and they would have made one extra team versus the spots available. So this year there's 85 spots, 80, not 85, I don't remember, 82, whatever it is. There's exactly enough teams to fill the available bowl slots, so no one's going to get left home. There was a lot of concern about who was going to get left home if New Mexico had won that game. A popular choice was Connecticut. Connecticut's had a great season, but the reason they were a popular choice is they're an independent, therefore they have 0 bowl tie-ins, and so
right.
I think that was the logic behind why Connecticut was going to be the one that was going to get left out. But Hawaii pulled it off, and every team that is bowl eligible will make a bowl game this year.
If you were to pick a team, let's just say hypothetically, New Mexico wins, one team has to get left home. Who would have got left home for you?
Oh man,
I'm putting you on the spot here, but I'm looking.
I'm probably going to lean Western Michigan. Them or Coastal.
I would be between. South Florida's put up some points lately, but they haven't been super great. So I think I'd probably be with you in Western Michigan, Coastal Carolina, but I'd add South Florida to the mix. If you want to say Arkansas State, I wouldn't hold it against you.
But they had 7 wins, so
yeah. But it'd be South Florida, Western Michigan, Coastal Carolina for me.
Yeah, and again, we don't know the bowl tie-ins, so it might not have been any of those guys, right? Maybe those conferences have all the bowl tie-ins to consume them all. Not really sure, but yeah, Western Michigan really kind of struggled down the stretch. Coastal Carolina was very, all 3 of those teams were very, very up and down, roller coaster type season for them.
And I'll be also interested to see how many of these guys who transferred out are going to play in the bowl game. Like I look at East Carolina, have that tremendous turnaround, fire the head coach, go on this huge winning streak. You got Chase Sewell. He goes to the transfer portal. Will he play the game? I don't know. They'll be probably fine without him. They've been doing just fine the last couple games in terms of receiving without him. But
it'll be interesting because I think it's it's up to each team, right? And each team handles it differently. I can tell you, like Old Dominion, you're in the portal, you're not playing anymore. Once you do that, you're done. But like Western Kentucky, I think their whole offensive line was in the portal. Caden Beltkit was in the portal because they told him to play tight end, but they all played in the bowl game. So it's definitely a team by team decision. And in some cases, I feel like they don't I don't know, did Western Kentucky have a choice, right? If their entire starting offensive line's in the portal, Do they have any choice other than to let those guys play? If they want to play, because something like that could be devastating, right? One receiver, you can replace one receiver, but all your starting 5 offensive linemen, I'm sure you can replace them, but you might not have any depth behind them. So yeah, I mean, interesting, part of this, this time in college football.
I'm trying not to let the mute button get to me. But so that does it with our bowl updates. All right, that does it. Those are our conference previews. Thank you guys all for tuning in. Come back and join us next week as we discuss what happened in all of the G5 Conference Championship games. And always bring you up to date on the latest news and happenings in the world of G5 college football. If you're watching us on X, please give us a retweet, a like, and a follow. If you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, please subscribe. Leave those 5-star ratings and reviews. Again, we're only like 6 away on YouTube for subscribers to being at 500. Go out there and sub to that. We would appreciate it. And thank you all for your support. Until the next time, we are the G5 Hive.